Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have CANB Corporation. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol CANB and is a health and wellness company providing the highest quality hemp-derived cannabinoid products. Please welcome its CEO, Marco Alfonsi, and its CFO, Stan Teeple. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Anna. We appreciate it. And thank you, Emerging Growth Conference, for letting us have the opportunity to share a lot of exciting things going on in the company. We need to cover ourselves here with the usual disclaimer and forward-looking statement opportunity here. Everything is for informational purposes, and this is not a solicitation. Every great company starts with a vision, and our visionary is Marco Alfonsi. Once you have the vision, you need to figure out how to execute that, and in order to execute that, you need a team, a management team. So I met Marco, 30-some years ago. We were we're both on the board of directors of a BD, but your background for this kind of an operation, Marco, is incredible. Share with our audience your background.
Hey, good morning, Stanley. Good morning, Emerging Growth Conference. Yeah, we all agree here. So my past history from 96 to 2008, I was a principal at 3 broker-dealers and owner. We had over 114 registered reps. We made 300 markets as market makers. We did about 37 transactions from cradle to grave, or wherever we inherited, the company's problem, may it be raising funds or bringing certain members to the team. And then we sort of, like Stan said, having that knowledge of helping 37 other companies, we sort of see the pitfalls, and it's all about the management team. As Stan said, I might be the visionary, but if I didn't have an individual like Stan or Phil or a board of directors, we'd be going nowhere. It's about building a team. So my past wisdom, if you will, we're not going to fall into the same potholes as other CEOs have done in the past. So Stan, why don't you talk about yourself a bit?
So for 30 years, had my own company. It was a turnaround consulting company. I worked primarily for Fortune 250 companies and migrated into a lot of smaller companies. I would work for creditor committees, bankruptcy trustees, or the bankruptcy court, helping, fixing, closing, liquidating companies. So I got an opportunity to see, as Marco suggested, all of the pitfalls and all the things that people did right and wrong in order to develop a company that made sense. So it was 5 years ago, Marco called me and he said, look, I need you back in here. First time that I really put long pants on the company. And Marco started this in 2015 out of his own pocket to try to make something go. We added to our management team 3 years ago, a gentleman named Phil Scala. Phil's our COO. Phil's a former SAIC in New York for the FBI. He's retired since then, but he's the one that is our gatekeeper. He's the one that looks at every project, every person, everything that we touch, and keeps us on a compliant and transparent side. Adding to the executive team here, we actually look at our board of directors. It's worth spending a minute on this. We have 3 independent outside directors. The majority is outside independent. We have we have James Murphy. James Murphy is also a retired SAIC for FBI out of New York. Quick aside here, he has a company, his own company, and he does all of the background investigations for all vendor, supplier, employee, and player in the entire NFL. It's Sutton and Associates, and so he's got a tremendous background in again trying to help us stay on the right side of transparency and compliance. Alger Boyer is a former number 3 guy at Wainwright and Company. He is a solid board member for us. He also is associated, if you've heard about the Alger Fund, and he has his own business as well, operating within the securities industry. Ron Silver, Senator Ron Silver, is he's a former state senator. He was 14 years Speaker of the House in the state of Florida. Ron sits on a number of pension fund boards. He's also very active still in politics, as you can imagine, and he's the one that keeps us apprised of things going on in the Florida market, where one of our major operations is. Additionally, when Marco started the company, the business model was to work with doctors to develop the efficacy of the products and things like that. And so we still maintain a pretty strong medical advisory board and a corporate advisory board. Let's have a look at our corporate structure here. We're going to dive into this kind of a piece at a time. But if you think of us as like three legs of a stool, we have a manufacturing division with pure health products. Our hemp operating division is the core of all the things we're doing hemp related, but we also have a durable medical device division. We're going to dive into each one of these kind of a piece at a time so you can see why we consider ourselves a broad-based health and wellness company. The question sitting there now, you ought to be asking yourself, why should I spend the next 15, 20 minutes listening to these guys? And Marco, tell us, what's the highlights we have going on right now?
So here are the highlights that differentiates us between many other companies. We have the ability to create isomers, and now with the isomers, that's going to increase our profitability. More importantly, a couple of years back in Q3 of last year, we had approximately $2.5–3 million of assets. We did multiple acquisitions, brought our balance sheet up to $16 million of hard assets. We're currently running in the hemp division only about approximately 150,000 plus a week in revenues. But more importantly, since we took over the company, if you see our track record, quarter after quarter, we've always increased our revenues. And year after year, we've increased our revenues. That's what you want to get out of this highlight slide.
Thank you, Marco. We're going to jump into the hemp operating division, which was the center part of our three-legged stool. And the reason we start there is everything kind of begins there relative to the other operations other than Duramed. So we have an interesting business model. We acquire raw materials, we process the raw materials into a usable isolate, and we'll drill into that a little bit. But first of all, it's really important that you understand how we acquire all of our raw materials. Marco, what's that business model look like?
So everyone knows the hemp business a couple of years back, right before COVID, pretty much crashed. The isolate went down from $7,000 a kilo to $250, $300. Many of these companies prior to that have invested millions and millions of dollars in the three acquisitions that we acquired in the state of Colorado. The gentleman prior to us that we purchased the facility from had to retrofit the building. He had to find the building, retrofit the building, put in concrete slabs to hold the equipment up. More importantly, he had to bring in the equipment, get it all welded together, and then had to upgrade the electric. So it cost him approximately close to about $12 million all in because he had to get the lease. We picked this asset up for $6 million of company stock at the price at the time we did the transaction. So we don't have that big payment to an equipment company. They are alongside of us now as equity owners, so you need to know that. The other unique thing that we'd like to try to get into that differentiates us than many, and these two factors are the two that are the trigger points that I believe makes us successful, is the way we purchase our biomass. Our biomass is equally as impressive. Most guys would go in and do a tolling agreement. Well, the farmers, when isolate crashed, they kept all their products because now it's in their farms, in their warehouses, they're storing it. The problem being, nobody could process it. So with us doing this acquisition, we came up with a very creative way to take in the biomass without hurting our company. And this is how we do it. We have papered up approximately 3.5 million pounds this way. We have an additional 3.5 million pounds sitting on our properties that we haven't signed yet because they just moved it into our properties, and we're going through the contracts now. But more importantly, this is how we bring in our biomass that doesn't hurt our company. We're able, the last chunk of biomass that I signed was 1.5 million pounds. We paid about $6.5 million of lettered stock. That is stock that will be good in 6 months. We made that farmer an equity partner alongside of us. And here's how it works, because this is the importance of the dynamic. Generally, it would take approximately 70 pounds of biomass to create 1 good kilo of isolate. We don't know if that farmer had it in his warehouse, had it in the field. Most farmers test anywhere from 6 to 12%, okay? But we don't want to take the risk on that. So what we do is we pay lettered stock $600,000 to make finished product of approximately $10 million. We process it, we truck it to our facilities, we process it, we take out the cost of the trucking, the cost of the stock, the cost of the labor. So net, then we'll do a 70-30 split with the farmer. He'll keep 70%, we'll keep 30%. And the reason we do that is we don't know if it's going to take 70 pounds to make that 1 kilo, or it may take 100 or 110 pounds to make the kilo, but the farmer's at risk with his product, not us. And those two unique things are what is going to catapult this company to the next level.
Thank you, Marco. Just for clarity on the business model, we pay for either biomass or crude or distillate, which we can buy from, as Marco said, from the farmer, whoever holds it. We buy it at 50 cents a pound. We process it, deduct all of our costs, and end up with a revenue split on the back end. But everything starts on the hemp division with us in Meade, Colorado. In Meade, Colorado, we have a processing facility, and it takes biomass or it takes crude, and through a number of filters and processes and proprietary processes that we end up with a crude oil. And that needs to be a decarbonated, winterized crude oil. I know that doesn't mean anything to you, except that's an important processing step. So this extraction is what's happening. Processing and extraction is what's happening in Meade. Once we get the extraction product, the distillate, we take from crude to distillate, as you can see in Fort Morgan, Colorado, and then we end up what's called crashing. We crash the distillate into isolate. So the isolate that we make is the core ingredient for every CBD product anybody makes. So the quality of your isolate is what the quality of your product, your CBD product, ends up being. So since we're controlling the entire process from raw material all the way through distillate, crude, extraction into isolate, we have absolute quality control. Further, in our Fort Morgan operation, we have an on-site HPLC lab that on a periodic, when I say periodic, I'm talking like almost on an hourly basis, we do checks of our products to make sure that we're processing properly and we're getting the exact end result that we make. So once we end up with this pure isolate that we have for the rest of our products, it goes to one of three places. Fort Morgan takes it, the isolate goes either to Tennessee, where we have an operation, we're going to get into a little detail there, or it goes to Miami. That's where we send the isolate to make isomers, or it goes to our Pure Health Operating Division in Lacey, Washington, which we'll get into as the other leg of our stool. So, Marco, what's happening in Tennessee? What do we end up doing with this product once it gets there?
So here's the exciting part. Many companies just can make isolate and then they have to sell it for whatever, the cost is. But in our scenario, because we're 100% vertically integrated with the Tennessee acquisition and the Miami acquisition, we have another lab that we take it from isolate to isomer. So we're able to do Delta 8, Delta 10, and we're able to have other cannabinoids. But those other isomers are yielding a much bigger value today.
What is isolate worth on today's market, Marco?
It's creeping up, actually. It's about $275, $300 a kilo. But when we convert it into an isomer, we're able to get a premium price out of Delta 8. Delta 8 right now is going from $550 or $500, predicated on the color and how many you order. Delta 10's jumping up there. You can go from $1,100 to $1,200. TCHO is another SOP that we were able to get over the finish line. That's going for about $1,400 a liter. And HHC, again, is going for approximately $1,200 a liter. So by converting our isolate into these isomers, we're capping out on, we're making a premium on our dollar, if you will.
So to refresh, in McMinnville, Tennessee, that's about an hour and a half east of Nashville, we have an R&D lab. We create these new isomers. And as Marco said, the valuation difference, we take a $300 product as with the isolate, and we get it anywhere from $500, $600 to $1,000 on the conversion to isomers. So we have the processing facility, and right now the capacity in the Tennessee operation is about 600 liters a week, depending on what pricing we look at that. You can see that's certainly $1 million a month operation in there. Tell us a little bit about the retail line that we picked up with Music City Botanicals, also in McMinnville.
Yeah, so that with Q3, if you go to Music City, we have a full-blown website that we're selling the Delta 8 products at a premium, because not only do we create the isomers, but we create all our own finished products. And that's really where we're capping off. So anything you guys see, I think we have approximately 200, 250 SKUs. So the Delta 8 is still a euphoric high, but it's under the 0.3% THC, as well as our other isomers. And that's where the key is, because we're maximizing our value for our isomers by going and creating these retail products that we're selling in storefronts and we're selling on the internet.
So everything we have to sell is federally legal. Everything falls below the 0.3% threshold of THC. We're not in the marijuana business. We have products that are different. We are in the health and wellness business. So Tennessee was the first place that we take our isolate from Colorado. The second place we take our isolate is to our other lab in Miami, Florida. We have similarly a processing lab and an R&D lab, but we do something additional in our Miami location, a couple of things. Marco, talk to us about the gummy line and the edibles and things that we just recently put into operation.
Yeah, so the exciting part about Miami is we have a 10,000 square foot facility that's broken up into approximately 3,300 square foot bays. In the first bay, if you will, we took the concept of making it like a microbrewery, if you will, but for cannabis products. So you could see us in the lab making the products. You could see the reaction room. And then what we have is, here's the reaction room. That's great. And then what we have is adjoined to that, we have another 3,300 square foot bay that we converted into a consumption lounge. So people can actually see us making the gummies, the gelato, the chocolates, the candies, the lollipops. Any one of our products that we make can be purchased in the lab next to us, the consumption lounge next to us. And more importantly, you could, if it's a smokable, you could go outdoor and smoke it because we have an outdoor environment. But the exciting part about this, Stan, quite honestly, is that American Development Partners is a very large company that does multi-unit developments. They have papered up with us, so we signed the contract then with them. They have committed to raise $200 million to build 50 of these lounges throughout the United States. And that will give us a footprint in each of the states that will have a lab to also be able to do a regional area. And we will have a theme for each of these labs. Stan, maybe you could tell them about the theme and how we're going to move forward with that with the members only.
Well, the difference between what we're talking about in our consumption lounge, and we call it actually an event center as well. You have a new product that you want to introduce. Apple's got a new phone coming out in Miami, and they want to have a closed meeting with their top people. Come on in. We have the environment. We got the video screens. We got the sound system. We got stages. We got seating areas. We have food and beverage products available. So it becomes a destination place for meetings. How about bar mitzvahs? How about weddings? How about banquets? How about corporate events? That's a great thing. But in the evenings, as Mark, this is again one of these Marco concepts that people have just incredibly bought into. In the evenings, we turn it into a lounge. We're showcasing our products. But in every one of these lounges, there's going to be an experience. So the difference between going to a bar after work on some place, you can get the bright lights and you can get the pretty girls and the pretty guys, and you can have all of the booze that you want, but it's just another bar. You come to our place, no bar. It's going to be non-alcoholic. We can give you all the same products to get you all in the same place, but it becomes an experience because each one of these lounges that we set up across the country will have a operating piece of equipment that we're actually making products. So come on in, watch us through the glass walls. You can see that we're making products. We're going to be making gummies and chocolates and edibles and isomers right in front of you. You'll be able to be part of the experience. So that's our big point of differentiation. Come back for the experience.
And one other thing I'd like to say, Stan. So we do have a 45-foot bar in these locations, but more importantly, we're not going to have alcoholic beverages. We're going to have our Delta 8, Delta 10, THCO. You ever see those hard seltzer cans that the kids are going to switch from beers to these hard seltzer? We're going to have the same flavor profiles, but under 0.3%. So you're going to be lifted, but you're not going to walk out of there drunk. You're going to walk out of there happy and able to get home.
Thank you, Marco. The third leg of our stool is our Pure Health Products division. Just to keep focused now, after we make the isolate in Colorado, we ship it to either Miami or to McMinnville, and we do our isolate production. The other place that our isolate goes is to Pure Health Products in Lacey, Washington. We are essentially a white label manufacturing operation in there. We make, as Marco said, we probably have 180 SKUs of different products that we make, tinctures and salves and ointments and things. We were just another white label lab as far as most of the community was concerned until last November. We became NSF certified. There's only a handful of companies in the country that have an NSF certified lab. In our NSF facility now, which is under constant scrutiny from NSF to maintain the certification, we can bid on business on all the big box stores, every major retailer in the country, because they only accept bids from NSF companies. So that's a really big deal. But so what else that we recently announced? And Marco, take us through our joint venture with the Brazilian guys. What's going on down there?
Yeah, so because we became NSF in a level 7 clean room, like Stan said in November, that's really drawn a lot of attention to us. So we were able to sign with Primex. Primex has a pre-existing relationship with Anvisa that's in Brazil. Anvisa, it's like the Surgeon General, if you will. They have to approve all products because in Brazil, melatonin is not legal. CBD was not legal. In that world, we got vetted out after 9 months of going back and forth with them. And I think they have over 120 locations. But more importantly, we got vetted out from Anvisa. They approved us in Anvisa. We'll start shipping at the end of Q2. But more importantly, that relationship with the doctors is very important because you just can't go to a store like you could in the US and purchase this product. A physician has to write a prescription and the pharmacy has to prescribe it. So we don't know where this contract goes, but I know we'll be pushed out there in a very big spot, and I'm pretty happy with that, Stan.
Thank you, Marco. In addition, we have some of our own brands, Canbiola and Seven Chakras, and each of those are a story unto itself, and we have a superfood product, but I want to be time conscious here because all of these products now are available through our new launched doctor program. Marco, this is exciting stuff.
Yeah, so Canbiola, we were in several hundred doctors' offices prior to COVID. Now what we created for our brand for Canbiola, because it's CANB MD, we have a doctor's program that the doctor makes no investment, he has no inventory, and has no fulfillment. We build a website for him and put our products in there. He tells his story, he drives his patients there, and then he'll see the back end. So we're doing another show coming up at the end of the week with another 850 chiropractors, and that's where we're getting our clients from, Stan.
Thank you. Another one of our operating divisions we acquired 2.5 years ago is Green Grow Farms. Green Grow Farms, we acquired them because they had product in process, they had locations to grow, they had partner share growing programs with farmers. But currently, because of the glut of biomass and crude on the market, we're dormant with this division, and we don't expect to probably start growing until probably late this year or early next year. Need to get into our final operating division. This is the third leg of our stool. It's our DuraMed operating division. It's durable medical devices. Essentially, we started with a Zetros SAM Pro 2.0 device. And Marco, tell us what the Zetros device does for patients.
So this is a beautiful device. You guys got to see it in many of the college team and pro teams that they'll slap this on some of the soccer players, baseball players, and then they'll ice them up. More importantly, this device costs approximately $2,500. and it delivers 9,000 joules of energy in a 4-hour wearable period, and that builds the capillaries. We have built a business model. We went out to our no-fault doctors in the state of New York, and right now, on behalf of the patient gets the thing. We bill no-fault insurance, approximately $695 weekly. Within the first 5 weeks, the unit is paid for. We purchased in the beginning 430 of these units, so we had additional units to go into the state of Michigan. In the state of Michigan, they have a different billing code, and right now we're billing $1,695 a week. So within the first 2 weeks, the unit is paid for. The lifespan of this product is 2.5 years. We have workman's comp. We bill workman's comp a little bit differently. In behalf of the patient, we have to give them the unit. We bill workman's comp twice the amount of the original cost of the unit. So we bill $7,500, purchase a new unit, and then put $5,000 in the till. That is not broken. We're just adding to it.
So what we do is we take the Zetraj units, and as Marco said, we have other products like braces and things. We rent the units to the patient to use. We go into the doctor's offices. We train the doctor's staff on how to put it on the patient. We do all of the paperwork. We do the billing to the insurance company, and we then collect the money from the rental. The patient gets well. The doctor gets happy because he helped his patient get into a faster cure program with less pain and so on. So let's jump in here, if we may, last kind of the building blocks, just a refresh of the last things that we talked about here. Number one, our pharmaceutical and nutraceutical market, Pure Health Products is gonna really be booming now that this NSF, we're bidding on serious contracts right now. We're vertically integrated, as Marco said. We actually take from our own biomass or isolate into isomers into all of our retail products. Medical device division, we can share this. That's of the 3 legs of our stool, that is positive cash flow and profitable operating division on a standalone basis. We're getting ready to go into some additional states. We have a business model that absolutely works. White label business, we talked about growing that out of Pure Health Products already. Lifestyle branded products, we didn't touch on this. We can't because of confidentiality at the moment, but we are about ready to launch an internationally recognized brand on this product, and we think we're getting really close on that. And number 6, the extraction process business model, where we're acquiring product at 50 cents and we get all of our costs recovered. We end up with a revenue split on the back end. That puts us in a pretty unique place. Couple more slides here. This is worth mentioning. This is our growth, and we're obviously can't get into projections prior to release of information, but I want to note that this dip here that we took, this is COVID. I can't think that there's too many companies, particularly in our industry in health and wellness, that hasn't suffered a bit of a dip during this period of time, but we have totally recovered and we're well on our way. And I think you'll see this growth chart continue to grow in that kind of order of magnitude. Marco, this is the wrap-up slide. You want to kind of take us through some of the key
if I have a couple of minutes. Yep, yeah. No worries, Stan. Thank you. Hey, so in the prior slide as well, our numbers came out last Friday. We hit $4.6 million. And more importantly, we did 1.7 from the prior year. So again, quarter after quarter, year after year, we have growth.
That was an annual 270, by the way, Marco.
Oh, okay. That's beautiful.
Annual.
Yep, annual. So anyway, our price is anywhere from $5 to $6, with the market being sloppy at whip stores. We have a $25 million market cap. We have about 3.5 million shares out there. We have approximately 4,600 shareholders, and well over $4 million in revenues. Well, not well over, but there. More importantly, the wrap up and the takeaway from this is real simple. We're vertically and horizontally integrated. All the companies or competitors we have, many of them, there may be 1 or 2 out there, because everybody says they are, but everybody's third-partying stuff. The other event is we're one of the isomer labs that have 4 or 5 SOPs, Delta 8, Delta 10, TCHO. Those are all yielding a premium. So where everybody's failing in the isolate business, we're able to take that isolate, create isomers, and take a premium. That's why everybody should be putting our stock on their watch list. Watch us grow, because this is our growth years. We have already signed 3.5 million pounds of biomass for paper, lettered stock. We have 3 million more ready to process. We also signed with Yakima Chief. They're one of the biggest hops distributors. Their farmers own the co-op, okay? So we'll be traveling with them across country to create a non-alcoholic beer, but a lifted beer. So that's our wrap-up, Stan, I think.
Thank you, Anna. I think that's it from us. We left any time at all for some questions, and it's back to you.
Barely, but you guys did such a great job of basically leading your own interviews. So I feel very full with information. We do have a few minutes, so let's see if we can sneak some in. Anna Carson wants to know, what is your process for tracking quality control of the product from start to sale?
Yeah, so everything that comes through the door is logged into a log book. We have SOPs that we have full chain of custody. We test along the way, that Stan said, probably every hour as the product's being done. And everything gets a certificate of analysis, and they're all on our websites for all our products.
I might add to that, if I may, Marco, that when we buy biomass from a particular farmer, that becomes a lot number. That lot number tracks all the way through from extraction to crude to winterization to distillate to isolate. I mean, we can tell the bottle that went into that you're buying off our website. We can tell you which farmer grew that and when.
Wow, that's great technology. Lucas Johnson wants to know if you can talk about your 4 million in notes on the books and what are the terms?
Yeah, so right now we have 4 million with Arena Capital. Many of you saw we have another filing out there, an S1A, around Valentine's Day. You know, we filed an S1A. The market's sloppy, so we're not going out. But we have a very good relationship with Arena, and we plan on paying them out, hopefully on our next uplisting round.
Sorry to jump on, but I just want to make absolute clarity because it's a really good question, Lucas. That note became due on the 31st of January, but Arena, we have a long-term extension agreement with them. They're absolute supporters of us and believe in what we're doing in this market. So there's no default and there's no issues with that note.
Correct.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we are time out, so we need to move on to our next presenter. But thank you so much for this great presentation. Tons of questions for you all that we'll send to you on your own. So wishing you a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Emerging Growth. Bye-bye.
Okay, everyone, stay with us. We're going to transition to our next presenter. We'll be right back.